From economic turmoil to social dissolution and cultural chaos, it can no longer be denied that the once opulent West is on the brink of collapse. In his new book, respected economist and father of Reaganomics Paul Craig Roberts explores the roots of this crisis and where we are going from here. This is the GRTV feature interview with your host, James Corbett, and our special guest, Paul Craig Roberts.
Civil liberties are essentially being destroyed. In fact, I think they probably have been. We see it everywhere. You know, the president announces that he can assassinate American citizens without due process of law. That's strictly unconstitutional. That they can be detained indefinitely without due process of law. Strictly unconstitutional. That there's no privacy. They have access to everything we do or say or listen to. This is strictly unconstitutional. So the Constitution has lost all of its authority in the minds of the government, and there's very little protest.
How does the economic situation play into that loss of civil liberties? Do you think they're connected, and if so, what's the causal mechanism?
I don't know. There's circumstantial evidence that why do we have a Department of Homeland Security, much less a department now with its own military force, with billions of rounds of ammunition, with 3,000 tanks? Why was it called out in Boston to look for one 19-year-old kid? The whole thing looks like the authorities expect some kind of an economic breakdown in which distribution is disrupted, in which people are hungry and all the rest, and that they need some kind of a massive domestic military force to put it down, to put down the disorders. I don't know. I really don't know. But you have to, why do we have the Department of Homeland Security? Why do they have this enormous military force, these weapons? Why are all the domestic police forces are now part of the Homeland Security. They are militarized. I go from time to time to a gun club where they hold national matches, competition, with friends to shoot the old cowboy lever action Winchesters. They're fun to shoot at paper targets and listen to, and the actions are fun. And just about every time that I've gone with him, there will be somewhere between 30 and 100 local police in full military garb undergoing concentrated firepower drills where there'll be 30, 40, 50 people shooting at the same target with automatic weapons. The gun club members are not allowed to fire automatic weapons, but the police, who are allowed to use the ranges. Sometimes we're there, you leave because it sounds like a war. Why is all this going on? And some of these police are from tiny, all-white, upper-income jurisdictions. What do they have SWAT teams for? There's nobody there to do anything. It's everywhere you look, it's going on. It's on and on. Now, I mentioned in the book the social dispossession of Americans, the political dispossession of Americans, and the economic dispossession. So some of this is mentioned there, though this topic, of course, is different from the topic of my book. We're kind of getting off the track.
But it is addressed in the book, and it is important because I do see this as being part and parcel of a broader phenomenon that's taking place. And of course, your book is about specifically the economic dissolution, but the political and social dissolution, I think, go hand in hand with that. And as yourself, you've been in business, academia, government service for decades, and you've seen the transformation of American society. For some of the younger people in the audience, how would you describe the extent of the transformation that you've seen over the course of your own lifetime?
It's unbelievable. It's just literally unbelievable. And not just over the course of my life, but, I mean, it is unbelievable over the course of my life. In every way, But just think back something as recent as Ronald Reagan. Imagine if Ronald Reagan had stood up and said that he was drawing up lists of American citizens to be assassinated without due process, or that he was asserting the power to pick them up anywhere in the world and torture them till they confessed and keep them in indefinite detention forever, no lawyers, no access of family. No, he would have been instantly impeached. They wanted to impeach Bill Clinton just because he didn't want to go on national television and say, yes, he had an affair with a White House intern and embarrass his wife and daughter. I wouldn't have wanted to either if I had done such a thing. That's even more recent than Ronald Reagan. See, the House did impeach him. I mean, the Senate didn't convict him. So he got impeached for lying to Congress about or an affair with a White House intern. You know, look at all the lies now. They're endless. Every kind of lie. Maybe even false flag operations on which all kinds of policies are based. Nothing happens. No one's held accountable. This accountability has disappeared from the executive branch. Now, why? Well, they used 9/11, the war on terror. Fear, fear, fear. It's the same thing that has always happened. So, in effect, now the United States is a police state. Every aspect of it is in place. How they will use it, whether they will use it just against a few or whether it will become general. Generally, power runs away, whether it's in private hands or public hands. Power it has to be checked. And that's, in one way you check power is with regulation. There has to be countervailing powers. This was the whole notion in the minds of the founding fathers. That's how they set up the government. So there would be countervailing powers. And what we've been witnessing is the destruction of countervailing powers. Look at the unions. They're gone. They're essentially powerless. And so there's no countervailing power against corporate power. The unions are wiped out. Now the state governors are using the financial crisis, their own budget crisis, to destroy public unions. So wherever you look, countervailing power in the United States is being destroyed, the Constitution itself. So without countervailing power, where is it? Well, right now, most power is in the hands of 4 or 5 major private interest groups. They determine Wall Street, the military security complex. Why do you think all these wars are going on? Because of the profits that flow into the military security complex. Massive profits. You can see the power of Wall Street in TARP, in the Fed's policy, the ongoing destruction of the currency, and the ongoing threat to the dollar as reserve currency. This is the power of Wall Street. You have the power of agribusiness. With Monsanto, for example, you know, it has a green light. You know, something like 95% of all research in soil microbiology, plant pathology, all this is funded by Microsoft. So obviously they get the result they want.
Monsanto, yeah.
Yeah, Monsanto, yeah. So you have the Environmental Protection Agency no longer protects the environment. It serves the function of mining, of energy, the fracking industry. All of these are massive sources of external cost. Most of the cost of these operations are not borne by the corporation. They are borne by nature's capital, the pollution of water resources, the pollution of air. All the dead zones in the Gulf of Mexico are due to the runoff from chemical fertilizer farming, which is agribusiness. So these are massive external costs of corporations. The cost may exceed the value of the product that the corporations make. Since they're not measured, we don't know. We don't know. So how is it you can have an economics discipline, and you don't even know what the cost of production are because you assume the external costs are zero?
For more on this story and other breaking news and current events, please go to globalresearch.ca. For more research and analysis by James Corbett, please go to corbettreport.com.